Hi everybody, welcome back to Cabin Creek Homestead. My name is Christine and we are here in my sunroom, which I am turning into a brooder room. So right behind me here, I've got a brooder that my husband just built for me. If you want to see the video on how we did that with all its dimensions, watch this video right here. And as I speak, I have 24 little babies hatching in their incubators. So today's video is about how I set up my brooder for ultimate success. Making a brooder for your chicks can be really simple, but since we are trying to up our scale of how much we are brooding and breeding and selling, we decided to go with something a little bit more heavy duty and that can hold a large capacity of baby chicks since I'm hatching in higher numbers as time goes on. Chicken math is a real thing. My goal with setting up my brooder is always just to maintain a few elements. The most important thing is I want to keep them safe from any outside predators. So this is safe on all sides. It has 4 sides, it has a bottom, has a top. Nothing can penetrate it as long as they are inside this brooder and inside my house. Also, I want to maintain a certain temperature. Now for the first week of their life, they want to be 95 degrees warm. So I've got a wonderful heating element. We'll get into that later. And as the weeks progress, they need less and less heat. And then you also want to make sure that they have an appropriate food source and a safe water source. And that is the basic elements of a brooder. Now I have DIY'd a lot of brooders in the past and they can be super simple. I think that trying to make it bougie and trying to make it Pinterest perfect really sets people back as far as wanting to try something new for the first time. It doesn't have to be picture perfect. As long as they are safe and fed and they're growing and healthy, then you're doing everything right. So I want to show you one of the brooders that I made myself. It is not pretty, but it was so incredibly functional. So it's actually right over here. Right here, I have a foot locker. Now this thing has been to 4 different countries with us because we have moved a lot in our life. All the handles fell off, the brackets fell off, the wheels don't work anymore. And actually, I wonder where's the last place that we had this bad boy? Ah, Beijing. What I did to set up this really simple brooder was I drilled a couple of holes and then I used my jigsaw to just cut out a nice square here. And this added some air, it let some of the heat escape, and I had enough room inside to put shavings, to put a heating element, and to put their water. This is when I only hatched out about 7 babies because that was a good size. The problem with this one is that I started to incubate more and more eggs and I needed a lot more room. Now I love this little foot locker. It was really easy to put either little doggy pee pads in the bottom or just really fine pine shavings in the bottom and to put their heat element, put their water and their food in there and let them do their thing. But I'm hatching out 2 dozen right now and that's just not big enough for 2 dozen baby chicks. The problem with overcrowding your brooder is that there could be insufficient airflow, they could suffocate, or they could overheat. Now when they crowd together in order to stay warm or because they don't feel safe, that just really causes problems. My husband is building in the garage. Do you hear that humming sound? Oh, I lost my train of thought. In my last video, I talked about the bottom of this brooder right here, and it is a fine mesh bottom that is plastic coated, so it's easy on their feet, but this is gonna allow the droppings to fall through. And the best thing about that is that I'm gonna have to worry a lot less about the diseases that grow when they have a very dirty environment. So all the droppings are gonna fall through onto a tray. I can remove that tray, compost it. If your brooder does not have a mesh bottom where all the droppings can fall out, be prepared to change your shavings once a day, maybe twice a day. It depends on the volume of chickens that you have in your brooder. Getting your food and water ready for the baby chicks couldn't be easier. They sell these for about $5 to $7, I believe, at Tractor Supply. I've had these forever. They're easy to clean. I use a 10% bleach cleaning solution when this is empty and I refill it, I clean it before I refill it. It's just one way to increase your biosecurity. Their water does get dirty, so be prepared to clean this and change it once a day. It gives me peace of mind knowing that even if they stepped in it and got some dirty feet in it, that it was cleaned that day and they don't have dirty water for longer than 24 hours. Let's talk about how to keep your coop warm. This brooder plate is definitely my favorite way to heat brooders. I've been doing this for several months now and I've gone through a lot of different kind of heating elements. This one is no nonsense. It's adjustable. You can either have it sitting really low, you can raise the height of it, you can even have it standing upright when they no longer need to be under it. It is very safe, unlike a heating bulb. And I'm not gonna demonize people that do use heating bulbs. I'm one of them. I still have a heating bulb out in my barn and it works well because I have it safely restrained hung, I guess I should say. Now, during my last hatch, I went and I got myself one of these brooder plates, and I've been using it for several weeks now. And then I had little baby piggies born, and I knew that they needed an additional heat source, but there was no way I was gonna put like a heat lamp in there because they are in a stall full of hay, which is flammable. And so I love the versatility of this. It's not marketed toward pigs at all, but I knew that I could nestle it down in some hay and I could actually have it sitting upright rather than flat like a brooder plate, and it would just radiate heat on those little baby piggies. And so I love that it has stood the test of time. It's definitely proven that it is fireproof and it's not going to start fires like a heat lamp can. So when my husband built me this brooder box, I wanted to go get another one because it's worth it. We have a big chicken operation to have multiple brooder plates, and I knew that this is the one that I was going to stick with forever. What I love about this is the size makes it able for many, many chicks to get underneath it and to stay warm. And it's also versatile. I can change the height, I can have it stand upright. And it gives me peace of mind knowing that it's not going to catch any kind of fire like my heat lamps do. Having too much light with your chickens during the night can mess with their circadian rhythm. It can mess up their sleep cycles. And you definitely don't want stressed chickens because the more relaxed and happy and safe they are, the less susceptible they are to diseases. So making them feel scared or stressing them out weakens their immune system. So if we can avoid that, we're definitely going to do that. Let's turn this on. One thing you might want to consider adding is a little thermometer. This will help just to ensure that you have it warm enough. This is not nearly warm enough because we have just now turned on the brooder. I really like this size of pine shavings because some of them can go through, but then there's still some left on top. That's going to help maintain the heat in here and keep their little feces dry, and it's also a source of comfort to them. Putting these pine shavings in like this is helping to ensure that when we clean out the poop later on, that it's easy to slide off and it's stuck in the pine shavings and not on the actual tray itself. When they are first born, especially the first and second day, they have very little control and they can actually drown themselves in their water. Even though this is a very shallow lip, that's just enough for a baby chick to get their head stuck in. They can fall asleep and flop down in there. So some people add marbles. I don't have marbles, but I do have these cute little bananagrams. So I'm gonna put these in here and around so that if they happen to rest their head over here, the water is even more shallow than it is now. Now we're out here in my barn, and I actually have 3 coops inside of this barn, and they are for the different ages and stages of chicks as they get a little bit older. Over here, nobody's in here right now because I have teenagers that stay in here until they are fully feathered and ready to meet and mingle with the rest of my girls. My other coop is back here behind me. These are my mature egg layers. The teenagers have now grown up. They've graduated out of the teen coop, and they're mingled together safely. You do have to take your time when introducing new birds. Big birds to smaller birds, etc. They like to pick on the little ones. That was a screech. And right here is my tween coop. So in this cute little Tractor Supply coop is where I keep my birds that have left the brooder in my home, but it's not quite warm enough in this coop over here for them to go into. And they're definitely too small to meet my big birds because the big birds would annihilate them. Let's take a peek inside this coop. It's really important to be aware of what's most likely going to kill your chicks. And those are lack of warmth, getting too cold, having a drafty place, exposure to parasites, viruses, bacteria, and obviously predators. So aim for your coop to be between 90 and 95 degrees. When they're about 6 weeks old is when I let mine leave any type of heat source and go into another, that's my teen coop over there on the other side of that hay pile. And that's protected from drafts. So there's no heating element in there, but it is still warm based on their own body heat. The other thing is you really want to make sure that you maintain a very, very clean coop. This is just a breeding ground for all kinds of bacteria. Even fungus and viruses can spread among chicks like wildfire. So keeping it clean, cleaning their water every single day. If you have a small watering source like we do, we use a 10% bleach solution. Every time the water is changed, they get a little bit of bleach, a scrub down. It's very easy to do. It takes only a couple of minutes, but it can save you a lifetime of heartache if you would just keep it clean. Using the proper bedding. Don't use cedar. I have used cedar in the past for my big chickens, but I have seen it hurt baby chicks. And then making sure that the flooring is staying clean and keeping them away from predators. Now, in my last video, I talked about making a coop that was very predator safe. This is only predator safe because it's inside of our barn. I'm gonna close this because the big chickens are trying to go in with the little baby chickens. This could easily be knocked down by a raccoon or a possum. There's a lot of just really wily predators out there that love to eat baby chickens. And so keeping a coop inside of our barn is a really good idea for us right now. If you have your animals cooped outside in a brooder situation, watch my last video and see some of the examples of photos that people shared with me from my Facebook group about how they keep their coop predator proof. So keep it clean, keep it safe, keep it warm, and your babies are gonna do just fine. There, it's so soft and fluffy. Now one of the first things, I'm filming. One of the first things that I'm gonna do is, oh, she wants to be in my hand. I'm actually gonna dip her little beak into the water just to get her acquainted with what it is, where it is. Just a tiny little dip. You never wanna pour it in their mouth. It's difficult to differentiate the air tube from their feeding tube when they're this little. So no need to pour it in there. Just introducing her face to the water so she knows what it is. And now I'm gonna put her under the brooder plate. So here we are. I'm gonna put her right under here. It is so warm. Let's read the thermometer. It is 85 right now on the thermometer. So I need that to climb just a little bit, and she will stay nice and warm way under here. And she knows where her water is, and she's got nice fluffy bedding. That is all for today's video. I'll make sure to introduce all the babies in the next one. We are hatching Bielefelds, Pita Pintas, and Americanas in those incubators, which is so exciting. That's all for today's video. We'll see you next time. Bye.